I get this question asked to me a lot. When should we start doing youth tournaments, like the national type level? High school, I mean, you need to be hitting the national tournaments. That's just the bottom line. Unless you're just doing high school wrestling for fun because your main sport is football or whatever, softball, maybe you're a female. Then, I mean, just do high school sports and just be a kid. But, at the youth level, not everybody needs to do those. But I do think if your kids are getting very serious about wrestling, maybe their third year of wrestling, or actually third season, because most kids don't have a year of wrestling, they have a season. So, you see some kids who have 4 years of wrestling. Well, really what they have is 2 practices a week for an hour and a half. There's probably a lot of games, a lot of running, and their season's 3 months long, 3.5 months long. You don't do much during Christmas break. So, I mean, they literally probably have like 60 hours of wrestling, okay? So never get scared when someone has 3 or 4 years of wrestling and they're a youth wrestler, because they probably don't have that much wrestling. But let's say you have 2 or 3 seasons of wrestling. Maybe you do have years because your kids are going year round. That's cool too. And they're like, you start to see that, hey, they're into this. They really want to do this. Okay. Once you see that, or begin to see that, I think hitting one or two of the big national tournaments is good. Now, everything's called the Nationals, which is kind of odd. Some little tournament in Kentucky is called Kentucky Nationals. But generally speaking, the main few are preseason nationals and USA Nationals, or postseason nationals by USA Wrestling. Cliff King Kickoff in Tulsa and Tulsa Nationals are very good ones. In the Midwest, they're in Iowa, and that's at World of Wrestling. And then the other good ones, there's 1 or 2 really big ones in Colorado area, or even up in Utah and Vegas. The Northwest Rocky Mountain Nationals, there's a couple there too. But not every tournament, just because you had to leave your home and get a hotel to join the tournament, is it really a national tournament. And they'll give all-American plaques and stuff, but some are legit, some are not. But those ones that I mentioned are very legit. Specifically, USA Nationals and USA Preseason Nationals are probably among the biggest ones. Tulsa Nationals is probably a close second, and a couple of the Rocky Mountain Nationals.com, I think. The Gutierrez family, they're awesome. So once you see that, hey, this kid's really getting into this, and they're dragging me to practice, and they're okay, let's give one of these a try. Now, you don't want to wrestle every single weekend. You don't want to wrestle every one of these out-of-town tournaments. I mean, unless you have $20,000 burning a hole in your pocket, it can be expensive. And spending $1,200 to go down to a tournament, Southern Louisiana Nationals, and you have 4 kids on your bracket. So do some research. But the big main events, like I mentioned, are very good. Some of those brackets are going to have 70, 80 kids in them, 150 kids. The high school level, 280 kids in a bracket at NHSCA Nationals. Those are legit. So anyway, there's my tip. I think you're going to learn a lot by going to those tournaments. And you're probably going to get your butt kicked. It's a good way to get humbled in the sport, and you realize that, hey, there's levels to this, and we got to ramp it up if we want to compete with these guys. So that's a good thing. Knowing what you're up against is step one. So there's my advice. Good luck.